Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I speak, I want to shiver. You know, I don't want them to be like, they know what I'm going to say because it's polite. And even if I get in trouble, ain't that what we're supposed to do? I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world.
For a teenager who killed a high school track athlete are seeking a new trial tonight. Karmelo Anthony was convicted of murder and sentenced to 35 years in prison. Today's discussion centered on an off-the-record agreement between legal teams and character evidence against the defendant. Correspondent Garrett Tenney is in Texas tonight with that story. Good evening, Garrett.
Good evening. This past hour, prosecutors laid out even more evidence on Karmelo Anthony they had that the jury never heard at trial. And that was because of an agreement with the defense that neither side would introduce character evidence. In court, prosecutors laid out a lengthy history of violence and behavior issues going back to elementary school that Anthony had. So much so that when he was 9 or 10, he was placed on a behavior plan. Prosecutors also shared dozens of text messages they found on Anthony's phone about his violent behavior. In one text thread, his then girlfriend told him to stop punching and that it wasn't good. He responded, "I have to. It's like a priority for me." In another, he told her, "When I get mad, I see red. When I get mad, I black out. When I get mad, I can't control myself." This comes a day after the defense shared its own stack of evidence showing
Austin is not who the black community is saying he is, or his family, because one of his teammates is actually black. A lot of his teammates are black. So we know it wasn't a racial thing. He has black people all over his ex, right? He shares their posts. That's not the signs of a racist kid. Most kids aren't racist. I've taught high school. They play a
bully. He was a bully. He was not a bully. He was a very sweet kid, and I can testify to that.
An open and fair trial. But bombshell testimony came this afternoon from Anthony's trial attorney, Mike Howard, about Austin Metcalf's background report that was never presented to the jury. CBS News Texas has also learned new details about Austin Metcalf's background. Metcalf and his brother Hunter were once caught spray painting graffiti, including KKK Kill All Blacks and Heil Hitler, along with the N-word, and were sentenced to 12 months of juvenile probation. Records reveal they reportedly told authorities, "We did some dumb stuff. We did some vandalism." There are several documented instances of Austin using racial slurs in school, and in 2023, Austin was accused of bullying a black student in class. In 2018, while still in elementary school, Austin and his brother were accused of bullying and assaulting a female, which led to his arrest. During an argument in 2024 with another female student, Austin allegedly knocked her to the ground and punched her in the stomach. He was also kicked out of a football game and texted someone later, "I was about to beat the expletive out of those kids." At a previous track meet, when another student alerted Austin that someone not on their team, quote, "behind our
All right. Good morning, everyone. Before we get into this, I want to let you listen to this carefully to see how you take in these new developments being introduced here that's being released to the public. So first and foremost, I guess I'll go ahead and I'll go back to this one here, because this is the way that it's being, like, for the most part, presented to basically everybody. Like, everybody's getting kind of like this presentation that looks a whole lot like this.
For a teenager who killed a high school track athlete are seeking a new trial tonight. Karmelo Anthony was convicted of murder and sentenced to 35 years in prison. Today's discussion centered on an off-the-record agreement between legal teams, character evidence against the defendant. Correspondent Garrett Tenney is in Texas tonight with that story. Good evening, Garrett.
Good evening. This past hour, prosecutors laid out even more evidence on Karmelo Anthony they had that the jury never heard at a lengthy history of violence. 9 or 10, he was placed on a behavior plan about his violent behavior. In one text thread, his then girlfriend told him to stop punching and that it wasn't good. He responded, "I have to. It's like a priority for me." In another, he told her, "When I get mad, I see red. When I get mad, I black out. When I get mad, I can't control myself." This comes a day after the defense shared its own stack of evidence showing Austin Metcalf violence.
Statements or actions of Austin Metcalf would come in.
Now, for the most part, the way that things are being presented, like when I go and I look at all of these different thumbnails, when I look at all of these different people covering it, when I go to Law and Crime, when I go to Fox, when I go to all of these different things that are being presented by the mainstream media, for the most part, their focus, their first focus, their main focus is the text messages. They're hyper focusing on those texts. And the thing about that is it kind of it's grimy as hell. It really is for the most part. It's basically a asymmetrical thing that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Let me get back to what I'm trying to say though. I'm not trying to pretend like the messages, the text messages themselves are like not disturbing, but at the same time, we're talking about like a 14 or 15-year-old talking. That's what we're talking about. I mean, they could be somewhat relevant to understanding Karmelo's state of mind at the time. And I guess you can report that. But if the headlines were all that you were seeing, then you would get the idea that it's pretty much just all his behavior that's kind of the catalyst for the cascade of events. You would get like this you would take this information as some sort of a way of kind of putting the other party as some sort of an innocent victim, when in truth they're not. It's just not. Basically, I want us to kind of like stop and think about the asymmetry of how things are being kind of put out here. Basically, you have a dynamic where the coverage is seeing what it wants to see, and it's like hyper focusing on text messages, or basically talk, as opposed to actual actions. Like we're hyper focusing on words, which may or may not have any substance to them, from a 15-year-old at the time, or a teenager at the time, a minor at the time, versus an actual juvenile criminal record. Like we're comparing words to freaking actions. And that's frustrating to me, because when I watch this and I would look at this from like an evidentiary standard side of things, it doesn't make any freaking sense. Like you can like clearly see the media slant that's being presented here. And basically, like for months, we've been talking about Austin's record, like his side of things. And every time that we would talk about that stuff, it would just end up becoming some sort of a rumor thing. It would be called gossip. It would be called like disparaging the dead for the most part. And they would just basically say, oh, it's just internet speculation. And there was no credence given to it. Even when when many of these people were people that were living in the area, people that were involved in observing the dynamics that were going on there. And so I say, okay, if you want to put that as gossip, and you want to say, okay, evidence has to be reasonable and etc., then I'm going to have to ask, like, well, what about now? What about now? What about now that everything has come out? Like, even now, are we going to still end up with this slant? Like, are we still going to dismiss this? Like, are we still going to say and try to portray Austin Metcalf as some sort of an angel or something? because this hearing actually revealed a lot of the substance behind the events that occurred. And if we ran into Austin Metcalf out in the street, I don't know if we would necessarily have a great outcome either. While we're pretending, while we're playing with it, let me go ahead and let me play this real quick, and then I'll see you on the other side of this clip. I only played like partial. Let me go ahead and play this whole thing all of the way out. Oh, wait a minute, that's the sound. I don't want the sound down. And let me do that.
Talking wild, Austin reported.
And let me start this back over. I think it's like, oh, nope, that's the
replied, "Kill that MF." During the 2023-2024 school year, he received in-school suspension twice. School disciplinary records from April 2022 to May 2024 reveal that Austin reportedly called a teacher the B word and used profanity. He told a school official that he couldn't control Anthony from getting an open and fair trial. But bombshell testimony came this afternoon from Anthony's trial attorney, Mike Howard, about Austin Metcalf's background report that was never presented to the jury. CBS News Texas has also learned new details about Austin Metcalf's background. Metcalf and his brother Hunter were once caught spray painting graffiti, including KKK Kill All Blacks and Heil Hitler, along with the N-word, and were sentenced to 12 months of juvenile probation. Records reveal they reportedly told authorities, "We did some dumb stuff. We did some vandalism." There are several documented instances of Austin using racial slurs in school, and in 2023, Austin was accused of bullying a black student in class. In 2018, while still in elementary school, Austin and his brother were accused of bullying and assaulting a female, which led to his arrest. During an argument in 2024 with another female student, Austin allegedly knocked her to the ground and punched her in the stomach. He was also kicked out of a football game and texted someone later, "I was about to beat the expletive out of those kids." At a previous track meet, when another student alerted Austin that someone not on their team, quote, "behind our bench was talking wild," Austin reportedly replied, "Kill that MF." During the 2023-2024 school year, he received in-school suspension twice. School disciplinary records from April 2022 to May 2024 reveal that Austin reportedly called a teacher the B word and used profanity. He told a school official that he couldn't control it and wasn't aware that it was coming out of his mouth. In 2024, on at least 5 occasions, Austin saw a counselor regarding his anger and rage during a football game. In 2021, he got banned from attending basketball games for a season after yelling profanity at a player. Metcalf also got suspended after he and...
All right, now there's an explanation for this whole deal and all of that stuff.
Because somebody else was saying the same thing. You're right. But check this. So Hunter and Austin, yes, they have all of this bad evidence against them. And in both cases, they would have to have a hearing before the judge for the judge to determine whether or not that evidence could come in. But less things would come in of Hunter and Austin. So while we know of it all, because when Mike Howard filed his motion in limine, he put all of it in there. Even the attorneys today put on the record that everything wouldn't have come in. So the jury still would have heard way more worse things about Karmelo than they would have heard about the twins, just because of the way the law works. So the law doesn't allow you to put in all of that First off, Texas doesn't allow character evidence, period, bad character evidence, period. But there are exceptions to when it can come in.
All right. So basically, she was trying to explain why there was even the slightest inclination to take that deal. They have like a different kind of like a slant to where there would have been more stuff that might have ended up becoming admissible for Karmelo than would have been ended up being admissible for Austin Metcalf. That being said, I still think that they should have not taken that non-binding agreement. There's more explanations on why and how that affected the case, and how that affected the ability for him to testify. And in a self-defense case, he would have most definitely needed to testify. So it kind of became like a domino effect. And there's just a whole lot there that just shouldn't have happened, basically. We'll get to some more of that later. Some of this is kind of involving like the judge's instruction to the jury. And there's like different, so there's about at least like 3 different grounds that they're applying, that they're using to ask for a retrial. And these are really good substantive arguments being made here, actually. But I don't want to get too far off into the legal weeds. We should find out something probably this weekend about how they're going to rule. But in any event, like Austin's history and Karmelo's text messages are not the same thing. And if you would have had that play out the way that it would have played out in court, I would rather take my chances with that rather than not, because there's so much that they couldn't go into. That's why they ended up with just like 3 witnesses that they ended up calling, and then ended up calling it quits because they were limited to try to not talk about any character things. And then when you don't talk about any character things, then it shuts down a lot of all of the other evidence that you might want to present. And it really kind of hurt the case overall. It's understandable to a certain extent with the way that the text messages would be framed and how bad that might sound or something. But all in all, it really wasn't worth it, especially with that last minute deal with him trying to testify, and then the prosecution saying, "Well, I didn't contemplate that you would that he would testify," and then he ends up into this whole thing about, I don't know what contemplate means. Like, it's this whole stupid thing about just kind of like moving the goalposts that ended up occurring. Let me play a little bit more explanation. Hopefully, some of this can actually explain it.
Extrinsic evidence that they came out with Hunter and Austin and everything they found out, like the racist graffiti arrest they got arrested for and did 12 months probation. Also, they had a N-word in a lot of stuff, text messages. Austin had about 10 videos on his phone of him terrorizing Black people, throwing water bottle on a boy, filming a boy, and he's telling him stop, and Austin slaps him upside the head, saying, "I'm going to slap Patrick," boom, slapping him. "I'm going to slap Charles," boom, slap. Just being a menace and a bully. They had all of that information. And yesterday, when Mike Howard was on the stand, they actually went through like 40 something different acts about Hunter and Austin. Baby.
Oh, wait a minute. Did this actually go through? I don't know if I actually. Did y'all hear on any of that? Let me know in the chat if y'all heard that. Or if I was just like listening to this myself. Let me play it again.
The extrinsic evidence that they came out with Hunter and Austin and everything they found out, like the racist graffiti arrest they got arrested for and did 12 months probation. Also, they had a N-word in a lot of stuff, text messages. Austin had about 10 videos on his phone of him terrorizing Black people, throwing water bottle on a boy, filming a boy, and he's telling him stop, and Austin slaps him upside the head, saying, "I'm going to slap Patrick," boom, slapping him. "I'm going to slap Charles," boom, slap. Just being a menace and a bully. They had all of that information. And yesterday, when Mike Howard was on the stand, they actually went through like 40 something different acts about Hunter and Austin. baby.
So basically, you had a whole menace. This dude was like a wannabe Chud the Builder. Actually, he was worse than Chud the Builder because he's actually going and putting hands on people. Like, like literally putting hands on people and then videoing it and then like particularly targeting black people. How is that not relevant? Like, how is that not relevant to a case? So there's that. There's the graffiti. There's the criminal juvenile convictions and record. There's the accusations from other people against them. And so you have like all of these like physical evidence things dealing with the character of Austin Metcalf. And then you're over here talking about text messages. And that's where most of like the reporting is starting with. That's what most of the things online are starting with, and have a thumbnail of Karmelo Anthony and then talking about text. And then they're basically presenting text messages as if those are the same things as convictions, as if they're the same things as actual real physical solid evidence. You're talking about the private text messages of a teenager, of a minor, of someone underage. I mean, I just want to like kind of like get us to really recognize that, like really wrap your head around what's being sold and how ridiculous it is. Now, I'm going to play one more thing real quick because there's another explanation about it was all a hot mess. Like the informal agreement was a mess. They ended up the timing of the informal agreement of, okay, well, we'll keep all the character stuff out of it. The timing of that was a mess too, because they didn't wait to even see what was going to be admissible in court or not. Like before you go and you make that type of agreement, you probably want to know what's going to go in and what's going to go out. I mean, if you don't know what's going to go in and what's going to go out, then, I mean, what are you even negotiating? You're just guessing. And this whole thing ended up becoming a whole fiasco where, okay, well, now we'll go ahead and we'll make another agreement. We'll make a second agreement. And then he ended up trying to make a second agreement where, okay, well, Karmelo, if he ends up taking a stand, he can say this, but he can't say that, but he can say this, but he can't say that. And then he's stuck with like 10 minutes to make a decision about whether he's going to go onto the stand or not. And then he had to go with no. I mean, he didn't even get clued in on this agreement until like 11th hour anyway. Like it was all bad. It was all bad. Oh shoot. But let me go ahead and then there's the judge's statement to the jury, instruction to the jury. Let's play that.
When it comes to the closing in the jury charges, they say, Judge, we have shown evidence of provocation that Karmelo provoked Austin to touch him so that when Austin touched him, he could stab him. And so that is the evidence that the jury's verdict, the jury charge deals with. And so basically their argument is that that jury charge comes with some elements and that they left the third element. There's no evidence of that in the record. And so the judge gave that instruction improperly. And so as a jury member, if you're told that, also the law says if you're the first aggressor, you can't use self-defense, or if you provoke somebody to strike you so that you can then defend yourself against them, you can't use self-defense, right? So just imagine the jury is told this jury instruction. They're told all of this argument by the state. They're not given the text messages, but this is how the state presented their case. We see why Karmelo got convicted of murder, right? There was nothing the jury could do if you told them that they had to find this provocation instruction. So that is a structural error. So they're arguing that they did not argue it in court today. It's already in the record, in the motions. And so, and it's in the record by the motion for new trial for the defense, and the state argued it already at the original trial. So it's in the transcripts. And so they're like, Judge, just read those and the argument speaks for itself and make the decision. So that is another structural error. So if the judge says that if Judge Chitty rules that Judge Roach gave an improper jury instruction, that could get Karmelo Anthony in a new trial. So we shall see.
All right. Let's go ahead and let's follow like the evidence ladder. I'm not trying to necessarily say that I'm not like a legal expert or anything like that. I'm just simply a critical thinker looking at the evidence that's before me. Like that's what I'm seeing here. So I'm just going to try to follow this evidence ladder here, and we're going to look at what was reported about Austin Metcalf. We're going to play that again because I know that there might be some people that are just coming in, and we really need to drive this point home. Let me go ahead and go back over there.
From getting an open and fair trial. But bombshell testimony came this afternoon from Anthony's trial attorney, Mike Howard, about Austin Metcalf's background report that was never presented to the jury. CBS News Texas has also learned new details about Austin Metcalf's background. Metcalf and his brother Hunter were once caught spray painting graffiti, including KKK Kill All Blacks and Heil Hitler, along with the N-word, and were sentenced to 12 months of juvenile probation. Records reveal they reportedly told authorities, "We did some dumb stuff. We did some vandalism." There are several documented instances of Austin using racial slurs in school, and in 2023, Austin was accused of bullying a black student in class. In 2018, while still in elementary school, Austin and his brother were accused of bullying and assaulting a female, which led to his arrest. During an argument in 2024 with another female student, Austin allegedly knocked her to the ground and punched her in the stomach. He was also kicked out of a football game and texted someone later, "I was about to beat the expletive out of those kids." At a previous track meet, when another student alerted Austin that someone not on their team, quote, "behind our bench was talking wild," Austin reportedly replied, "Kill that MF." During the 2023-2024 school year, he received in-school suspension twice. School disciplinary records from April 2022 to May 2024 reveal that Austin reportedly called a teacher the B word and used profanity. He told a school official that he couldn't control it and wasn't aware that it was coming out of his mouth. In 2024, on at least 5 occasions, Austin saw a counselor regarding his anger and rage during a football game. In 2021, he got banned from attending basketball games for a season after yelling profanity at a player. Metcalf also got suspended after he and...
All right. So I pretty much already like hammered home the point here that we end up taking like Karmelo's private words, his private text messages of a 15-year-old, and then we end up in the media, well, not we, but the media ends up making that his public identity. Meanwhile, we have like Austin's documented conduct, and that's basically like denial and minimized for the most part. We have like something that's basically like a narrative filtering system is the best that I could try to explain what I see in terms of what's going on. And here's the thing, like now, like we were saying this stuff, our Black residents were saying this stuff about Austin Metcalf all before the trial, all during the trial, and everybody just kind of like said, oh, okay, that's just rumors, that's just gossip, that's just internet. So now what? I mean, so now we're not dealing with anonymous rumors on social media anymore. Like court documents report and show that Austin and his brother received 12 months of juvenile probation following that graffiti incident. And that's like not the only thing on their juvenile record. I mean, they also have like racially charged and anti-Semitic messages. Like, so if you want to go to the messages game and all of that, you have the reported documenting of racial slurs, the school discipline, the anger problems, the fighting, and more fighting, and the suspensions on top of suspensions, the allegations of bullying, the assault conduct, and all of that stuff. And you want to present first text messages about Karmelo and try to say that that's an even worse thing? No convictions, text messages. Okay. All right. This is what people sounded like while we were trying to say something about Austin's record.
Austin is not who the black community is saying he is, or his family, because one of his teammates is actually black. A lot of his teammates are black. So we know it wasn't a racial thing. He has black people all over his ex, right? He shares their posts. That's not the signs of a racist kid. Most kids aren't racist. I've taught high school. They play around. They mess with each other. But that's not a reason to kill somebody. I taught my kids the right way. And what we taught our kids is that nonviolence is never the answer. You never use somebody, you go tell a teacher. That's what normal, civilized people, but we act like a bunch of thugs in the African-American community, a lot of criminals, like we are, like uncivilized animals. And I said it. But the teammate of Austin comes out and says that they're lying on him, that he was a great player, that he was an amazing kid, he wasn't a racist, and comes to his defense. This makes me more mad every time I look at this, see something like this. This was Austin Metcalf's last words on X. Does this look like a words of a racist? And if you look at his Facebook,
So let's just kind of like pause that there for a moment, because we were dealing with non-black people saying this. We were dealing with black people saying this too, that were trying to appeal to white interest. So it was like a both and the whole thing now they should look silly. Like they really should be kind of like brought back to, okay, this was the stuff that you were saying. This was the tap dancing that you were doing. And here's all of the stuff that you were gaslighting us on and pretending doesn't exist. Like that needs to come to the floor. That needs to come to the forefront. And we shouldn't be shy about doing that. Not even in the least. And I think that there's something that we should kind of like consider. We should definitely kind of consider like the evidence ladder that should transpire. Like, yeah, you should go and have at the bottom of that like internet rumors and whatnot, and then above that, then we go into like allegations of actual things reported, and then above that, then we would go to school records, and then above that, then we would go to like juvenile records and whatnot. And we know what's happened now. Like now we have the stuff out about Austin and his multiple criminal convictions, like in his juvenile, all of his juvenile terms, and then on top of that, then there's the statements from the dad that came out. Like there's this whole entire, when you put it all together, it paints a really clear picture of what was going on and what we were dealing with. And it's like darn near like about like 75 pages on the, I mean, it's just like a bunch of stuff. You have like tons and tons and tons of stuff, and then you end up like comparing that to some little text messages, and then saying that the text messages are worse. And I'm seeing that like all through like comment sections and everywhere that this issue ends up being discussed. And it's aggravating. It's really aggravating. But let me go ahead. Let me get into a little bit more. Like we have like basically a evidence goalpost that ends up basically moving. Like we ended up saying all of this stuff here on like early on. They ended up saying, okay, that's just rumor. Now we end up with the evidence out, and then now they end up like moving the goalposts some more, and they still want to kind of focus on text messages instead of dealing with like actual juvenile criminal history. And I mean, so this is like after all of the records are public. This is after we can verify all of what's rumor and what's not, and still we end up with that slant. And the reason that we end up with that slant is because of how this whole thing gets processed. So you'll have like a troubling history over here and a troubling history over there, and then it goes through a narrative role filter. And a lot of that has to do with basically social standing and status, and who is controlling the hierarchy. And then so after that goes through that racial hierarchy filter, then you can either end up with amplification or minimization. And then if you amplify it, then you go from amplification on over into punishment, all the social punishments that we have. Or if you choose minimization, then that'll go ahead and lead you on over into protection. And that's essentially what we're seeing play out. We're seeing what I have been saying this whole freaking time all along. You don't have a justice system. You don't have a justice system in the court of public opinion, and you don't have a justice system in the legal system either. You just have a selective punishment system. Okay? It's been a selective punishment system the whole time. And the sooner we wake up and the sooner we realize it, the better. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop the link. And if you all want to come up, you can come up and give your thoughts on it. I think that should be now there in the chat, that link. And we can kind of discuss further some more about this selective punishment system that we have, because the legal system is not what we have. We don't have that. Even in terms of just pure social revulsion, like we'll have like more revulsion for these texts than all of these actual racially problematic things that the twins did. And let's not forget one other thing too. Like then there was like the dad statements. I don't even know if I can play the dad statements. Let me see if I could get everybody on in here. You know what? I might just have to go ahead and play the dad statements, because that came out before we got all of this stuff over here. And you could tell that the apple doesn't fall all that far from the tree. Like the stuff that he was saying was like horrendous. And we just kind of like end up saying, well, he's a grieving father. Oh, well, this or that. And it's like, nah, this was an indicator of who Austin Metcalf was. And then all the stuff that we were saying, like it basically just ends up becoming confirmed. But let me go ahead and I'll just go ahead and I'll pass the mic on over to Tunnel Runner first, and I'll work my way down to you, Naima. We'll just kind of go in order. Tunnel Runner, you're up.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yes. Yeah. They threw the judge out of the case. The judge has been replaced.
Yeah. I saw that. He basically he set the groundwork for that with that interview that he did, just basically making it clear that he was going to be, he could not be considered impartial.
Yeah,
like,
he was biased.
Yeah.
So like I say, and then he made sure that none of this information got out there. He's like, shut it down. He got with both of the lawyers, and he said, look, we're not going to put this thing on the media. We're going to do this all in-house. knowing that the information that we get out there about these boys down there in Texas would incriminate some of them, you know. So it was a setup from the get go.
Yeah, and they got to kind of like hide behind like different things. They ended up trying to like hide behind, oh well, maybe there might be a danger to all of the different to the witnesses or different people involved. So we want to kind of hide their, identity because people can go and find them. And then they end up saying, oh well, these are minors, so let's go ahead and let's protect these minors. But then when it came down to it, like where was the protection for Karmelo? Because Karmelo was a minor, like when this all went down. Like this kind of, by the time it went to trial, he was older, but like at the time of the actual events that occurred, he was a minor.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other side, the other part that is like we just had some cases. Like we had a case where a black man was basically stabbed up and like just blood everywhere, and the lady got like 6 years. Now people are going to go ahead and basically the same thing, a similar thing to what you get for the maximum sentence for cruelty to a dog. Like if she was cruel to a dog, the maximum sentence would have been 5 years. You just add like an extra 1 year on and then made it like 6. So then she ends up like getting out in 2. And then we're talking about Karmelo Anthony getting 35. Like the lady was not Courtney Clenny was not a minor, but Karmelo Anthony was. But I guess I'll just kind of leave that in the background. Is there anything else you want to say, Tone Runner?
No, that's good. I'll land right there.
Okay, let me go ahead and pass the mic to Naima.
Good afternoon to all of us here on the Eastern Hemisphere, and good morning to those in the Western Hemisphere. I understand that there is quite a time between all of us.
Our resident Euro resident here.
That's a European here. Negro as some people would rather call me, or Afro-European.
We can go with that.
Just being uppity. Yeah. Anyway, excuse me. That was my tablet. But when I look at this reminds me of a previous trial. Does anybody remember the trial of George Zimmerman?
Yep.
And remember, the trial was never about him. It was all about what was Trayvon Martin's conduct prior to all this. Saying he had dabbled in controlled substances. He'd been doing this, that, and the third. No one talked about the fact that he texted someone, said there's somebody following me. He used an expletive to describe Zimmerman. At no point in the trial did they bring up the fact that Zimmerman had called the police and said there was a suspicious character walking around with a hoodie on, despite it being raining. And the officers told him, "Stand down. We will pursue that person. You stand down, sir. You're not part of the night's watch. You're not part of the neighborhood watch. So please stand down. We'll handle this ourselves." No one thought that, hey, he was out of line for what he did. And then the confrontation happened. But it was all about Trayvon, his past, and not Zimmerman's conduct and his pattern of behavior prior to all this. No one talked about how his man had made threats to other people or had shown similar racial bias and animosity towards anybody who was not black. Tracy Martin, Trayvon's father, I'm sure was no stranger to this man. But it just shows you how much, like you said, this is a selective punishment system, but it's also a selective narrative system. Because the media, the way they're presenting it all, it is trying to, it's basically like we've had this discussion before, like I mentioned that, as Mr. Nancy would say, this country wants you to believe that white people are inherently good and black people are inherently bad. The floor is yours.
Yep. It's on you, Bronk.
Yeah, I'm actually just hearing about a lot of this stuff today about the Metcalf twins, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, and that sheds a lot more light onto what could have actually transpired during that confrontation. So, lifelong bullies, and I go even beyond, saying lifelong bullies, but they're juvenile delinquents. Seems like they've been, given a free pass. You got these kids on racist graffiti, assaulting black people. That's a hate crime. You got them even assaulting young women. These boys literally have a criminal record. None of that's discussed until after the fact. And then we got their father on video calling Karmelo Anthony a watermelon felon. So we know who they get that from. All the evidence shows that these boys had some deep hatred towards people that was passed down from their father. But we choose to ignore that. The fact that they get so much support just tells us, the condition that we're in right here in America, for real, if you ask me. You got this young man sitting in jail for 35 years for what it looks like really defending himself against some racist bullies.
Yeah.
Some racist criminals, actually. Because, again, they're more than just bullies. Those are actual criminals. I'm going to land there for now, but this is just wild.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about whether I should play the clip of Austin Metcalf's dad, like, because I mean, it really does kind of like show that that basically all of this stuff that we were talking about and all this stuff that came out came from somewhere, and that somewhere looks like it came from him. Like while he was trying to, and everybody was like portraying him as this warm-hearted, grieving father who wanted to try to make peace with the with the family and all of that stuff. And it's like that was all bogus. That was all bunk.
Yeah. Well, the devil always disguises himself as an angel of light. I don't really trust white people when they say that they're Christians or they believe in God. I don't. I look at their actions. I read the Bible. It tells me to judge a tree by the fruit it bears. And that's what I look at. I don't care what you say. I don't care how, much you love the Lord and how you go to church on every Sunday. I don't care about any of that. I care about your actions. All right. But I'm glad Karmelo Anthony's parents didn't, buy into all that foolishness, right? When you think about it, their father, it was like he just couldn't wait to like really say what was on his mind, right? Because if you recall, he had a gag order on him, right?
Yep.
He couldn't talk about anything, But as soon as that gag order was lifted, he didn't hesitate, didn't waste any time posting that video.
You know what I'm gonna go ahead and do? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna play Jeff Metcalf. And then after I play some of Jeff Metcalf, then I'm gonna play some of what they said about Austin, about his record. And then we could play some more of Jeff Metcalf again. Let's just kind of break it down. Let's do that.
He is, because 78% of you don't have your father in the home anymore. You got baby mamas running around with 8 kids so they can get EBT cards to feed you all. You think I'm being racist? No, I'm being real. Oh, you've got more melanin than me. Ooh, so you get more privileges, more entitlement? Because 400 years ago, someone actually sold you to us and we took you over here and put you to work. And then we had a civil war to free your ass. And now you want to talk shit? Oh, I've been so oppressed. You couldn't even vote 1960. Look how far you've come. Look at all the free shit we give you. You're not oppressed. You're fucking entitled. You know what DEI stands for? Yeah. It means I don't have to be fucking qualified. I just have to be a certain color or race or gender. Whose bright ass idea was that? I'm gonna tell you right now. Charleston White, you think you're funny? We'll see who's laughing. Drew Anthony, you're a pussy and a coward, and you raised one. Kayla, you drunk bitch. What'd you do to that boy to make him stab somebody? My God, what kind of mother are you? Hey, Kevin Hayes, you fucking liar. Day after it happened. How many keyboard talk, Mr. Squeaky Clean? You're the only one in your family without a damn record. On the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Y'all can make on the I hope he enjoyed his first night in that cell last night. Because he's gonna have
Let's skip some more.
Charleston White, you look like a fucking crackhead. Even though you got money, you're the only smart in it person. All
right, we'll get back to some
Man,
more.
let me tell you something. If this is what he posted, online for the world to see, imagine what the private conversations sound like, man. Imagine what the private conversations with his son sound like if that's what he posted for the world to see. Oof, man.
Yeah, and this isn't even like there's still like another like 4 minutes or so like with this like I mean I kind of sort of want to like answer some of this stuff that he was saying though too like because if you're gonna talk about oh hey somebody sold you to me. No, actually you had this was chattel slavery, which means that
Exactly. Didn't exist before they created it.
Yeah. So basically, what you end up with here is you're talking about like you making kids slaves. Like kids didn't have anything to do with the initial transaction. If a transaction even occurred.
Correction: chattel slavery didn't exist in modern times before the Europeans started. In ancient times, it did, but in modern times, until the Europeans started it, yeah, didn't happen.
Yeah, so like what we're talking about is like we're talking about like kids being enslaved that had nothing to do with any initial transaction. We're talking about then he wants to talk about like, oh hey, we freed you. Actually, no, because there was two sides to the Civil War. Like
one that wanted to maintain the status quo, and the other side that wanted to end it. Oh, yeah, by the way, I have to mention this. I have to mention this to Bronk, as I'm from the other side of the continent. We had to endure slavery of our own, but it was with the Arab world. But it was from the Arabs that the first of the Europeans, the Portuguese, learned about these types of rationalizations to enslave and subject black people to chattel slavery. So this is passed down from people to people. And the Arabs learned about this mostly because they were translating the works of the ancient Greeks. Because remember, the Greeks held slaves, the Romans had slaves, but their definition was not as chattel slavery. So we understand it's a progression of these things.
Yeah.
And
what I'm
go ahead.
So the Arabs or the Muslim Arabs, right? Their slavery.
Slavery was going on. Yeah, slavery predates Islam. Their slavery. It predates it.
Yeah, right, but the Islamic slaves, what I'm talking about, they follow Sharia law when it comes to slavery, if I'm not mistaken, right?
To an extent, yeah.
Okay. Well, they're supposed to. Under their religious law, that's how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to practice chattel slavery under Sharia law.
But before I get all the way off into the weeds, I got.
Oh, sorry about that. My bad.
So, all right. So he said that oh yeah, we freed y'all. Like, no, there were two sides to the Civil War. You can go to the Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation clearly say there that it's about freaking slavery. And then you're over there in the Deep South. So which side are we talking about being on here? Like the whole thing is a mind-numbing mental contortion for racial animus that makes no damn sense. Like every damn thing the man said was a lie. Like let me go back because I can't even keep up with them all. Let me get back there.
Actually, sold you to us, and we
Did not sell us, sold somebody, and somebody had kids, and then you enslaved the kids.
took you over here and put you to work. And then we had
Mm-hmm.
a civil war to free your ass.
There were two sides to
Dang.
the Civil War. You didn't free shit.
And now you want to talk shit. Oh, I've been so oppressed. You couldn't even vote 1960.
That actually means we've been so oppressed, you idiot.
Exactly. He's contradicting himself because we had no
He don't want
political
to talk
power
about
to
Jim
do it.
Crow in Texas.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to say that we fought in the Civil War on the Union side and the Confederate side, and so we won freedom for ourselves. We had to fight for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really had to free yourself because like when they did the Emancipation Proclamation, that was like covering the places that they didn't even have control over.
Yeah.
And Lincoln said, without the black soldiers, we would have lost. The black soldiers
Yep.
is what made us win. That's what Lincoln said, and that's why somebody like him, probably one of his
Buffalo
relatives,
Soldier
shot Lincoln.
brought to America.
Yeah, I mean it's just down the line foolishness, like just down the line. I know I didn't even cover it all. Like
Look how far
let me
you've
see what
come.
else he had to say.
Look at all the free shit we give you.
No, all the free stuff we missed out on because they gave land giveaways. They gave like then even like when you go back to MLK, when you go back to Martin Luther King's
Uh-huh.
speeches, he goes and explains this stuff that like they gave out acres and acres of land. Then they had land grant colleges to teach you how to farm on those things. They
Uh-huh.
had this whole entire system that they had. The suburbs, like the project that they had creating the suburbs was basically given to white people and then denying us. The
Mm-hmm.
freaking GI Bill, we ended up missing out on a lot of it. Like a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
things for the where we had FDR's programs, it ended up like
The New Deal.
the New Deal. We ended up getting clipped out of that
Mm-hmm.
because hey, well, we're going to exclude domestic workers and farm workers, blah blah blah. Basically, the type of works that we were heavily in. Like the man is lying his ass off.
Let's not forget also, black people, first of all, even with the Emancipation Proclamation, the 13th Amendment may solidified you guys were free and into child slavery. Secondly, the 14th, that goes for y'all. The 15th is what gave you guys the right, which protected your right as citizens of the U.S. to vote. But Jim Crow was involved in all kinds of, voter suppression. So for him to say you guys didn't get a chance to vote till 1960, he's acknowledging in a backhanded way. Because remember, it took the Civil Rights Act of 65 to reinforce the 15th Amendment. Because you guys were being denied the right to vote in multiple ways. There was, they gave you like an education test. They were putting up goalposts, like saying you guys have to be able to read. You have to pay taxes to vote. You have to, pay a voting tax, a voter's tax, right? Voter's tax and whatnot. That just tells you everything about this motherfucker and how he's just brimming about his whiteness and trying to say that you guys are just ungrateful, which is the type of gaslighting and backhanded remarks that a bigot would have to black people.
Yep. Everything.
What's next? He's gonna be, yeah.
They try to make it seem as though everything actually is equal and has been equal. They try to make it seem. They'll bring up, European slavery against American slavery.
Shit.
Prove a point.
They'll bring up Obama right now. He'll bring up Obama and say, "Look, you guys got a black president. Should you be happy?" See, that's and H. Rod Brown said, "Be careful what these people say when they try to be dismissive of you. They will bring up certain things as tokenism. Tokenism is not enough for us. We need substantial, tangible results that uplift us out of the condition that we've been imposed in." Go ahead.
Speaking of that tokenism, he ends up talking about like DEI. I'm hoping that I'm at that point right now. Let me play and see if that's where he's at.
You're not oppressed. You're fucking entitled. You know what DEI stands for? Yeah. It means I don't have to be fucking qualified. I just have to be a certain color or a race or gender.
That didn't fit the acronym.
Now what? It's not the acronym. Like it's like, but like since he brought it up, since he said, "Oh, I only have to be a certain race or gender," which race and gender gets the most of DEI?
His answer would be white.
Probably white women.
White women.
White women.
White women.
Yeah.
But he can't have his smoke for Becky, so he's got to come after us.
That's why
you can't have that smoke because
that's probably why white men trying to become. I said that's probably why white men trying to become white women. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that too. I mean, like, so number one,
they try to get that Title IX. They try to get that Title IX protection out here.
Yeah, I mean, like number one beneficiaries were white women. Number two beneficiaries were white men.
Yeah, remember the head of the public health department when Biden was in office? That thing.
What thing?
The head of the U.S. public health department when Biden was in office. I think it was the U.S. public health department. I forget. But a transgender.
Oh yeah. Like so.
Yeah. Oh like yeah, so, it's diversity, equality, diversity, something, and how does ABM media say it?
Inclusion. Diversity, equity,
diversity, equity, inclusion. That's how you're supposed to say it, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm mocking like,
yep. And then, but then it's like, I don't understand. Like, so he did some serious mental contortions and mental gymnastics to get away from the fact that, hey, actually, no, it's DEI primarily was benefiting white females, which would be kind of like your ex-wife there, guy. Maybe not her specifically, but people like that.
That begs a question, actually.
Oh,
where were the twins' mother? Where was the twins' mother in all of this? And who had custody? If they were divorced, who had custody? Ooh, single moms. There are more white single mothers out there than one.
Since he want to talk about criminality, like who had the juvenile record, who was from the single parent home, what?
Dysfunctional too. Who came from and who are the majority of social service government support? Who are the majority of government support recipients?
Yeah.
Who gets more EBT cards? Who gets more welfare? Who's most likely to be? Which majority are on food stamp?
Yep, that's all.
But they want to say it's black folk. But they want to say it's all black folk.
Let's play Austin here as a case study. Let's now that we've
fair trial, but bombshell Anthony from getting an open and fair trial. But bombshell testimony came this afternoon from Anthony's trial attorney Mike Howard about Austin Metcalf's background report that was never presented to the jury. CBS News Texas has also learned new details about Austin Metcalf's background. Metcalf and his brother Hunter were once caught spray painting graffiti, including KKK Kill All Blacks and Heil Hitler, along with the N-word, and were sentenced to 12 months of juvenile probation. Records reveal they reportedly told authorities, "We did some dumb stuff. We did some vandalism." There are several documented instances of Austin using racial slurs in school, and in 2023, Austin was accused of bullying a black student in class. In 2018, while still in elementary school, Austin and his brother were accused of bullying and assaulting a female, which led to his arrest. During an argument in 2024 with another female student, Austin allegedly knocked her to the ground and punched her in the stomach. He was also kicked out of a football game and texted someone later, "I was about to beat the expletive out of those kids." At a previous track meet, when another student alerted Austin that someone not on their team, quote, behind our bench was talking wild, Austin reportedly replied, "Kill that MF." During the 2023-2024 school year, he received in-school suspension twice. School disciplinary records from April 2022.
Now, wait a minute. What was that? Like, that seems awfully similar, doesn't it? I mean, where have we heard that before? Like, what's that? Let me play that part again.
Wild, Austin reportedly replied, "Kill that MF." Another student alerted Austin that someone not on their team, quote, behind our bench was talking wild. Austin reportedly replied, "Kill that MF."
Oh, that's what
Somebody
he
not on your
said.
team was talking wild.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, okay.
yeah.
And
I
you
mean, you
and
think that
that's
maybe
what you
that
said.
might
Okay.
be
All right.
a thing that might cause somebody to fear serious bodily injury if they came across somebody like that? I mean, that does
Mhm.
sound like a threat of serious bodily injury, like, if you're coming across somebody that has a track record of doing that, saying that.
That's not protected by free speech. That is not protected by the First Amendment. That is
No.
a call to that you would be charged with incitement. That's a call for violence.
Yep. I'm gonna play some more, but I mean, I just thought that somebody should have caught that part there, like that, hey, this is a track record here, and he's basically having like a track record of confronting people for this same thing and and threatening them with either death or violence. Like, what is going on with people? But you want to talk about text messages.
During the
Right.
2023-2024 school year, he received in-school suspension twice. School disciplinary records from April 2022 to May 2024 reveal that Austin reportedly called a teacher the B word and used profanity. He told a school official that he couldn't control it and wasn't aware that it was coming out of his mouth.
He couldn't control it. And he couldn't control his mouth.
You see the pursuit of plausible deniability. White men and white teenage boys will pursue just to avoid accountability, like they were a bunch of females.
Yep.
Also, let's not forget he and possibly his brother have shown that they will get violent towards females. He's had an incident where he's assaulted a female student. So this guy is an equal opportunity with his assaults.
Yeah.
He has no problem putting hands on people because there's no consequence.
And this isn't like just kind of like talk or chit chat or some teenager that's writing text messages. This is freaking confirmed stuff. This is
Within context. Remember, the text messages were taken out of context because we don't understand regarding Karmelo Anthony, the text message, what incident were they alluding to? And how did that incident come about? Nobody's even bothering to ask that question. They're just saying, oh, well, he was talking about a certain incident. What incident in particular?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about that. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of stuff, like when we're talking about like teenagers and stuff, ends up becoming like a whole lot of posturing for the most part. Like, so they'll end up like kind of trying to make themselves out to be like more dangerous than they actually are. And even in like one of the text message threads, it ended up being something like he was talking about, some stuff, and then it ends up like at the end of it, it's like, oh no, I never actually do that though. Like, yeah, what's the context? Is the context talking trash? Anyhow, let me play some more.
2024, on at least 5 occasions, Austin saw a counselor regarding his anger and rage during a football game. In 2021, he got banned from attending basketball games for a season after yelling profanity at a player.
We said that. Like, this was something that like we had said like over and over again about him being like banned from sporting events. And then people were like, oh, no, that's just rumor. Oh, that's just conjecture. Oh, that doesn't matter. And it's like, okay, then, yeah, all this stuff comes out.
Metcalf also got suspended after he and
So yeah, that's pretty much what we've got here on Austin's side of the fence with where he has this lengthy record going all the way back to elementary school, and it comes from
Whose broad ass idea was that? I'm gonna tell you right now. Charleston White, make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new guess that's something to brag about. Did you sit and type up on your keyboard, you big keyboard warrior? You a big tough man. You still live in Baton Rouge? Talk, Mr. Squeaky Clean. You're the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture. You people hang your hat on the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Y'all can let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all was trying to portray. How about Watermelon Felon? How's that one strike you? I hope he enjoyed his first night in that cell lab.
Actually, it strikes me as kind of lame. It kind of strikes me as kind of dorky. It kind of strikes
Juvenile.
me. Yeah. I mean, a bald man child is what it strikes me as. A baby in an adult body.
Last night. Because he's going to have many nights to think about what the fuck he did. Tiffany Billions. I don't know what kind of glamour shot you steal from a piece of shit. I don't know. Your little army of people? Maybe it was your Black Panther friends. Ooh, y'all are so fucking tough. You talk a big fucking game, but really at the end of the day,
I'm trying to find some sort of way to avoid the F-bombs, but I can't. It's just a race-litten, like profanity-litten statement that he's got here. So it's no wonder
he's trying to rage bait. That's what he's doing.
He's doing that, but it's no wonder that you end up with Austin saying that he can't control his mouth. Like, look at who his dad is.
Him and his twin.
Yeah.
We don't know. We only know about Austin, or we know about Austin and Hunter together collectively.
What is trouble?
Yeah, because we don't understand. We're not sure what is Hunter's record separately. What other things has he been reprimanded for separate from his twin? He could be just as worse. He could be just as bad, or even worse. We don't know.
But you know what we see right here? We see a sick man, a very sick man. Because with all this talk he has and stuff like that, he lost his son.
Yeah.
Instead of him saying, "Oh, maybe I made some mistakes. Maybe this was, stuff like that. Maybe I should rethink about the way I'm growing up these children and the way I am, because I just lost my son." No. He doesn't do that. He just, he doubles down on the stupidity, on the sickness.
Yeah, and he still has another son. That's the scary part. He still has a whole nother son.
Yep. I mean, he's supposed to be at this point a sane man, a man that would be like, "Oh, they convicted this guy, and my son's dead. Let me rethink about the way I'm living and how I'm growing up these sons." But no, he doesn't do that. He wants to talk about Charleston White and all. Like I said, you could see the sickness.
Yeah, and so it's sickening also. Like, and another thing that's sickening is like some of the people that were talking like this.
Austin is not who the black community is saying he is, or his family, because one of his teammates is actually black. A lot of his teammates are black, so we know it wasn't a racial thing. He has black people all over his ex, right? He shares their posts. That's not the signs of a racist kid. Most kids aren't racist. I've taught high school. They play around. They mess with each other. But that's not a reason to kill somebody. I taught my kids the right way. And what we taught our kids is that nonviolence is never the answer. You never use somebody, you go tell a teacher. That's what normal.
Nonviolence is never the answer. I agree with that. Oh, man, he can't even talk right. But okay, yeah, let me continue.
Most civilized people, but we act like a bunch of thugs in the African American community, a lot of criminals, like we are, like uncivilized animals. And I said it. But the teammate of Austin comes out and says that they're lying on him, that he was a great player, that he was an amazing kid, he wasn't a racist, and comes to his defense.
That's some serious tap dancing, man. We have to contend with that too.
Yeah, we have to continue with that. And the thing is, like I say, this guy, just because you have a teammate or a work partner, even if you're sleeping with a person, they can still be racist, even if they're having sex.
Yep.
So I don't, he tried to say, well, he had a teammate. Man, he doesn't even he doesn't know what he's talking about. He needs to shut up because people can be racist, can be, they could be a friend of yours, they could be polite and everything and still be super racist and super prejudiced and super vindictive. And people, and this just, we as black men have to understand, there's a group of people who don't want to see us happy no matter what we do. We have to realize that and don't let that change us, stop us from doing things. Because there's a group of black, white people, Latino. There's a big group of people who don't want to see black men happy. Even some black women do not want to see black men happy, and we have to realize that.
Yeah. Proximity
And
to blackness is not pro-blackness. It's not even necessarily being neutral. It's just proximity. You know who has
proximity is used as a cover.
You know who had a whole lot of proximity to black folk? Slave owners. Freaking slave owners. In the house with us. So yeah, you can be in close proximity and you can also still be about white supremacy.
Yeah, some of the slave masters were joking and having fun with the with slaves and having sex with the slaves and all kinds of stuff. But they still were slave masters, and they still thought you were nothing but a little bit above an animal, or not even are an animal.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it was like, okay, yeah, sun up, go back to work. It was fun hanging out, back to work.
I mean, don't some of these people love their horses and their dogs and cats, and they just love them to death, but they don't respect them at all.
Yeah, it's still a horse, a cat, or a dog.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get it twisted. Yeah, don't get it twisted. Always remember you're a black man in America. Always remember you're a black man. Always remember protect yourself at all times.
Yeah, man. Like when and this it's tough that we gotta protect ourselves from the inside with guys like this, and we have to protect ourselves from the outside with guys like this.
I'll scrape you off.
Both sides.
Yeah.
It's a
And
pincer
the only time that you can kind of give a little trust is when they earn it, and then you still got to make sure you don't give anybody 100% of your trust, because it's just the way the world is right now, and people changing up on you. That you have to make sure that people earn the little trust that you give them, the percentage of trust that you give them, and you can go up by the years of quality work of trust, being trusted.
Yeah. I might have forgot to say fair use, but like fair use all over.
I forgot. Yeah, I should have covered you on that one. My fault. My fault.
Man. I should do like a disclaimer or something, put that right in the beginning, like fair use.
Yeah. Shouldn't you get like an explicit sticker while you're at it?
I probably could do that too. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's what Charles does. That's what Charles does on his live streams. He has that explicit sticker on one corner, placed in one corner of the screen to let you know.
I generally try not to have a whole bunch of profanity and stuff like that. But sometimes when you come across stuff like this, it's like I didn't have time to bleep out everything.
Yeah,
I didn't have time to bleep all that out. Gosh, darn, there's a lot to bleep out on that. Let me play some more. Let me see if there's some more stupid stuff that he says.
The heel of my boot. And normally I don't normally attack people like this, but I have been cooped up and caged up in this anger. And this is something I'm trying to work on. I need to develop it and funnel it into a more constructive way. But tonight is the one time I'm going to allow myself. It's okay. Tonight I'm going to allow myself to say what I really want to say. Because most of the time I don't say what I want to say because it's not correct. Just because you think something doesn't mean you believe it. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it wrong. Doesn't make it a fact either. Because all you believed, Karmelo was innocent. Newsflash, guilty, prison. You were wrong. Admit it. But no, what do you do now? Oh, there was no black jurors. You know why? Because you can't be unbiased, you dumb shits. If you answer the question, I can't send a black man to jail because he's black, you're not getting on the jury. You're so unintelligent, you can't even fill out a form correctly. You don't.
Interesting hearing this guy talk about intelligence.
Hey, I'm getting triggered, man. I'll leave. White people gonna have to stay away from me for a little bit. I'm getting triggered.
I just look at this and say, you know what? Give him all the rope he needs. He's hanging himself right here. So just watch the spectacle. Let him run his mouth and show his whole ass. Makes our jobs a lot easier. Let him expose himself, because like our man, Mr. Z, what does Mr. Z always say? The internet will what?
Expose us all.
And this man purposely went out and exposed himself.
Yep. Let me go back over to this.
But
like there's something
trial.
I want to.
But bombshell background report that was never presented to the jury. CBS News Texas has also learned new details about Austin Metcalf's background. Metcalf and his brother Hunter were once caught spray painting graffiti, including KKK Kill All Blacks and high.
Okay, so are we really going to just skate past that? Like, I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, okay, let me spray paint something like, oh, I don't like black people, but that's a different thing. This is like deletion. This is on some. Let me play that again. Did my ears hear that correctly?
It's caught spray painting graffiti, including KKK Kill All Blacks and Heil Hitler.
Okay.
Yep, you heard it right.
I think I heard that right.
You heard that absolutely completely right, man. Nothing out of the ordinary on that one, and it was all absolutely accurate. Showed you who these two were, what kind of juveniles they are, what kind of individuals they had the potential growing up to become. Now the question is, what becomes of Hunter? His brother's dead. This all comes out. And the people in the school campus, they knew, in the high school campus, knew what kind of people they were. So, yeah.
They knew exactly who he was.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, I might not be the smartest man in the world, but if somebody is saying that the KKK, they kill all black people, then I think I might need to protect myself around that kind of person.
That's so crazy. Let me play this part here too.
Reportedly replied, "Kill that MF." During the 2023-2024 school year, he received in-school.
This is a whole lot of deletion talk. Like, let me play that.
Someone not on their team, quote, behind our bench was talking wild. Austin reportedly replied, "Kill that MF."
Okay.
This came straight out of his mouth, not a text message. This was a statement he said.
Yeah.
Well, they were on the bench during a football game.
So you got graffiti about like kill all black people. You got this other statement about kill that MF for somebody that's around like the corner, like where their team's at, saying something. Like, are y'all catching the pattern?
I am. There is definitely a pattern right there in this young man, as well as his twin. Because remember, his twin was also arrested. They were both involved in the graffiti and vandalism. And if you look at the pictures of him, you can see it in his eyes what kind of a person he is. He's just like he's just hell bent to want to hurt somebody. Something dark in those eyes.
Yeah. Let's go back to the
know who your
source.
fucking daddy is because 78% of you don't have your father in the home anymore. You got baby mamas running around with 8 kids so they can get EBT cards to feed you all. You think I'm being racist? No, I'm being real.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's just not connect the dots at all. Let's pretend let's pretend that none of this stuff is connected whatsoever. Let's go ahead and let's
this is
say
just all coincidence, not real. Yeah. Let's put our ears in, start going la 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 la. That's not true. It's not true. We don't believe it. La 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 la. Or make like this, or like more like the three monkeys. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
Yeah, they're trying to separate this all out, like to dissolve it in a way. Like, so the stuff that happened in elementary, they're trying to say, oh well, he was so young, they were so young. That was just an incident over here. It makes sense because they're elementary. Oh, you're overblowing it, blah blah blah. And then when they start talking about the graffiti thing, it's like, oh well, it was just a graffiti prank, blah 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 blah. Then when we start talking about the incident with behind the bleachers with this other things, like, oh well, it's just words, blah blah blah. It's like nothing is taken all together. Like, we're not. And then the father statements, we're not adding it all up. Like, well, not we, but mass media isn't adding it all up, and they're still trying to make this argument that the text messages are worse,
which is absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Karmelo Anthony's text messages here, folks.
Yeah.
Not Austin and Hunter's Metcalf's, which would have been far more vile.
Yeah,
far more vile.
Because you don't even have to talk about text messages. You can go and look at video of him assaulting people, like assaulting black people. Like, let me play this.
Evidence that they came out with Hunter and Austin and everything they found out, like the racist graffiti arrest they got arrested for and did 12 months probation. Also, they had a N-word in a lot of stuff, text messages. Austin had about 10 videos on his phone of him terrorizing black people, throwing water bottle on a boy.
Wait, how many? What was that? I thought I heard like double digits.
Videos on his phone of him terrorizing black people, throwing water of text messages. Austin had about 10 videos on his phone of him terrorizing black people.
Oh yeah, I thought I heard that right. Yeah, 10. That's double digits. Double digit video evidence of him terrorizing black people. And he did the graffiti thing. And it's just like and but we're going to just kind of separate each of these different ands, try to dissolve it so that you can look at it in isolation. You don't add it all up, and we're just going to say that Karmelo's text messages are worse. We can look at it all in aggregate when we're talking about like a big, massive text message dump. But when we go and we talk about like actual juvenile records and school records and all of that stuff over here, we got to just kind of like deal with all that in isolation.
And this is why we need black media. This is why we need people like you and other black YouTubers to put the truth out there, because see, the media would just not say anything. They will just cover up for people that they want to cover up for, and then they will find the smallest things that a black person does and put it on blast, and make it look worse than what it is. So this is why we need to support black media. We need to support black men talking the truth, because without that, we don't get it. The media is so ready to draw us down the hill, ready to destroy us.
Yeah, the thing that aggravates me the most is even when the truth comes out, it's still framed a certain way. Like a lot of this stuff were things that black people in the area that live there were talking about. They were saying this stuff, and it just kind of got like, washed, as like, oh, just internet rumors, blah, blah, blah. Okay, truth comes out. So you have trouble in history, and then that goes over into a narrative filter. So you amplify the stuff about the text messages with Karmelo, which may be out of context, and then you push that out there for punishment in the court of public opinion. All of the actual records, criminal records, school records, multiple records from Austin Metcalf, that gets minimized, and then that becomes a way of protecting his image. And that narrative framing, that filter is becoming more and more prominent, to me at least, and probably to the rest of us. But some type of way, I don't think that mainstream, the rest of society, actually sees the filter. Like this is like egregious to me. like trying to compare text messages to juvenile record is nonsensical. And the sad thing about it, like the really sad thing about it, is that I even see some other black people signing on to that same filter and doing the same thing. And it looks like a version of this guy
mad every time I
over
look at
here. It looks like a version
Austin
of that, but
is
now
not-
instead of dealing with the pre-trial stuff, or you're dealing with this post-trial stuff, to where we actually now see the evidence, but now we're going over into the filter.
Not who the black community is saying he is, or his family, because one of his teammates is actually black. A lot of his teammates are black, so we know it wasn't a racial thing.
We know it wasn't a racial thing. We have to deal with, like, and I don't even know how we're going to deal with the tap dancers in our community, because they're going to get amplified. They're going to get clicks. They're going to get views. They're going to get likes. They're going to get amplified. Like, we're going to see more and more of them. And I don't know how we disincentivize them from doing this.
You don't. Because we have to understand that these guys are willing and useful tools.
Yeah.
For the other side. And we also know that eventually the other side is going to do away with them, because all they see them as is useful tools. And what does white supremacy do when it's done with its tools?
It breaks them.
It breaks them. It breaks them. So these guys are going to be, these guys are going to try to pivot back and try to get back in our good graces. And I'm like, no. You have already proven you are treacherous. So kick rocks.
Yeah. I mean, that's all we can do. I guess maybe like them getting that nice ride up high and up to the, to the top floor when it's time for them to take their trip down, and they're looking for a black safety net. Like, no, no safety net for you. You don't get that.
You don't get it. You don't get a damn thing from us, because you've been calling, you've been saying, because you've been throwing it in our faces. You've been able to be successful and saying that you've been working hard, you've been doing everything that you're supposed to do. Because, a lot of these guys also play that respectability politics. And I'm like, you just made yourself a willing tool and a voluntary slave by doing that. You cannot get rid of that. You can't take that mask off. You're like the man with the iron mask with that one, fool.
You know this.
And what I'm going to say, what we have to do is that these people actually are enemies of us. And we have to make sure that we understand it. Don't forget that you're an enemy. If you call the police on me and for something, or if you do this, if you talk bad about me or something like that, if you do stuff and you willingly do it, and you don't give me you are my enemy, and I have to make sure that I treat you like an enemy. And even though you stop with the actions, I still have to remember who you are.
It's so scary. It's so scary to me how much he sounds just like Jeff Metcalf. Like, I mean, like all of that stuff that he's talking about black people, it just sounds the same. Like, let me go back to here.
Don't bitch because Trump's played it wrong. You're gonna support over here and put you to work. And then we had a civil war. Because 400 years ago, someone actually sold you to us and we took you over here and put you to work. And then we had a civil war to free your ass. Because you don't even know who your fucking daddy is, because 78% of you don't have your father in the home anymore. You got baby mamas running around with 8 kids so they can get EBT cards to feed you all. You think I'm being racist? No, I'm being real. Oh,
so you got that. Then you got this guy over here
He
sounding
has
like
black people all over his ex, right? He shares their posts. That's not the sign. Austin is not who the black community is saying he is, or his family, because one of his teammates is actually black. A lot of his teammates are black. So we know it wasn't a racial thing. He has black people all over his ex, right? He shares their posts. That's not the signs of a racist kid. Most kids aren't racist. I've taught high school. They play around. They mess with each other. But that's not a reason to kill somebody. I taught my kids the right way. And what we taught our kids is that nonviolence is never the answer. You never use somebody, you go tell a teacher. That's what normal, civilized people, but we act like a bunch of thugs in the African-American community, a lot of criminals, like we are. Like,
you have black people sounding the same as white racists.
And then he says he's a teacher, right? And he said nonviolence is the way. So we should be kicking ass and shit. Oh man,
He said it all wrong.
He said it all wrong. So he's saying, that guy we should be kicking ass. We should be kicking ass, taking numbers and shit like that. But he's just a confused, messed up, and there's a lot of people like that. And the thing is a problem for us as black people, because we not being on the top of this society, and by people looking at us in a negative way, even some of our own folks, they fall into the programming.
Yeah, it's scary thinking that this guy's a teacher. I mean, so this is the educator that is going to be shaping the minds of your children. This is another reason why we have to really take a close look. You remember I had that other live stream where I was talking about black people in white spaces. So when you're out here in these suburbs and you get, and we would think that it was a good thing. We would look and we would see that like, oh yeah, great. You have a black teacher here. This is great. This is wonderful. Even though we're in this white space, look, there goes representation. There goes a black teacher, a black educator. And then we get all happy, and then we get all excited, and then we get to listen to him sounding like this.
Uncivilized animals. And I said it. But the teammate of Austin comes out and says that they're lying on him, that he was a great player, that he was an amazing kid, he wasn't a racist, and comes to his defense. This makes me more mad every time I look at.
It's calling black people animals.
Yeah. If there was only one thing I could do to change the whole situation, that would be put strong black male, heterosexual black males in charge of education and put them in a private situation where it's controlled and run by black people, and black people are the power source, the money source of that education.
Yep. I just hope, if this guy's an educator, I just hope he doesn't teach history.
Oh, God.
I just hope he's not teaching history.
Yeah, that would be
If
scary.
this man, if the way he talks lets you know everything about him. But then again, let's not forget, we always talk about, black representation, this, that, and the third. You know how many people are quick to dismiss that person as a DEI hire or affirmative action? And the person,
yeah, that's the crazy part about it too. Like, so he's going out there and he's just spewing all of the white propaganda, and at the same time, that same white propaganda would harm himself. But he thinks that he's an exception. He thinks that he's the exception to the rule, and that somehow it doesn't apply to him. And so, okay, because he's oh so special, then he can go ahead and he can co-sign on all of this stuff, and then he'll get some more rewards and stuff for that. This is another part of how extreme individuality and that rugged individualism mixed with respectability politics blows up in our faces. Like, it just, because it creates guys like this that think that, their individual merit somehow outweighs their blackness in America, and that it supersedes all of that, and then
no, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
I mean, A-Trap Brown back in the 60s, they explained to black people, like, you will never be afforded individuality in this system. If they, see you as individuals, they would have first and foremost, and this is my understanding from it, if they see you as an individual, that means they have to acknowledge your humanity, acknowledge you're a person. By looking at you based on your race, you are part of a collective, which means you're subject to any and every stereotype related to that particular group that you belong to. You are part of a collective.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and play. Like, you know what? Like, if that guy is a teacher and a history teacher, the type of history that he would be teaching the kids would look a lot like this.
You've got more melanin than me. Ooh, so you get more privileges, more entitlement? Because 400 years ago, someone actually sold you to us, and we took you over here and put you to work. And then we had a civil war to free your ass. And now you want to talk shit? Oh, I've been so oppressed. You couldn't even vote 1960. Look how far you've come. Look at all the free shit we give you. You're not oppressed. You're fucking entitled. You know what DEI stands for? Yeah. Means I don't have to be fucking qualified. I just have to be a certain color or a race or gender.
So basically, yeah, the history will look something like that. And by the way, Daughters of the Confederacy basically made a big push to shaping the textbooks. So I could very well see a scenario where this man is the result of that. Like, that worldview could be shaped. His worldview could be shaped by that. And then when you have black educators that co-sign or adopt that same rhetoric and end up propagating it to the next generation, whether that's black or white, that becomes even more problematic. And you end up with even more people like Austin Metcalf.
I bet that teacher, that educator, black gentleman who was on social media who's trying to trying to cape for him. I bet he's been called a DEI hire by students in his class.
Yeah.
And he just had to take it because he knew if he tried to reprimand them, he would end up getting replaced. He knows the game he's playing. He understands where his position in all this is. He understands the cost, and he's willing to pay that cost just to get ahead because he knows what's waiting for him if he falls from grace.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, and I guess I see some of the incentive structures there, but it doesn't seem like it overall when you add it all up, it does not look good. It doesn't really seem like it's like the juice is worth the squeeze. It does not look good at all if we end up with a society of that. It's bad. It's just bad overall for everybody involved, because then you end up with people that genuinely don't understand. You end up with people that are using the confusion for their own benefit, and you end up with a system that perpetuates the economic injustice that has been occurring for centuries and never addresses it. So it just basically becomes like a way of just kind of whitewashing everything and pretending that reparations are not due, that fixing the racial wealth gap is somehow anathema to merit or something. And it's all basically it's all basically like a con job. Retconning con job.
Excuse me, before you continue, could you please explain to me what the word redcon is?
Oh, it's
because I've never.
It's where you are retroactively rewrite history, basically, or rewrite whatever happened. But it's kind of like a device that's used in basically like movies and TV shows where they'll go and they'll take something and then say, "Oh, it was always this way." Like, hey, this shirt that you've always seen him wearing, you've always seen him wearing this yellow shirt, but now we're just going to say that yellow shirt was always red.
So it's a form of retroactive revision of history and gaslighting at the same time.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. Because I've heard the term redcon this, redcon. I'm like, what do you mean by redcon?
Well, like
especially for those of us in the game, especially those of us who are in the spaces where we're talking about comic book lore and video game lore. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, in the comic book lore and the video game lore, it's like they just go back and then they like change this detail, and then you're supposed to just like chow it down and then accept it and like act like it always was that way. And it's infuriating for fans, really, because you're going and you're telling us that this thing is not what it was that you have been telling us this whole time. Like, you've been telling us that this is the unbreakable sword, and then now you go back and you retcon it and you say, "Oh yeah, that sword was breaking all the time." I'm like, no. No, you're not going to do that. And so that's
like how people will try to like make excuses about this, that, and the third. like a certain joke I mentioned, but this isn't the time or place for it. So because we don't want to go in the weeds, let's stay above the ground. Let's stay above the grass. We'll keep it above grass level right now, folks.
Yeah, but it's very interesting and also upsetting when I see Black people co-sign onto this alternative reality, you know, where they acquiesce to the narrative filter, whether that's history, whether that's current events, you know, whether that's something dealing with a abstract thing rather than like an actual like physical thing. Like all of those things are problematic because all of that is basically like bowing to the social dominance order. And that's like the least. It's basically like you're making it super cheap for the system. Like you're making that social dominance order put out the least amount of effort because now all they have to do is just like rhetoric. All they have to do is just propaganda. They don't have to like sit there with like arms pointed at you all the time. They don't have to go and then have that physical threat of violence and invest more energy and more time into things and potentially potentially end up harming the legitimacy of their rulership. Now you just basically are just bowing down towards it based off of words.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we should never do. I mean, at least at the very least, bare minimum, stand up for yourself and make them work for it.
People need to stand up for themselves as individuals and as collectives, and there needs to be more work to be done to counter this type of rhetoric that's being espoused and spewed. But unfortunately, a lot of people are also very emotional. And people are quick to dismiss and say that the media is fake news and everything, when we need to have actual, credible journalism that's really doing its work and showing what's really happening and bringing the really much needed information to the people, to the masses. But unfortunately, the news cycle is 90% entertainment, 90 to 95% entertainment, and the rest is just information. And that, I mean, since the 90s, since, you know, the Telecommunications Act of 96, you've had major conglomerates just gobbling up and trying to shut down independent media. So people could be, you know, further programmed. Because this is what these shows are, this is all it does is program. Because remember, it's called television programming.
Oh, you actually ran into something just now because you just brought up the conglomerates. Like you have conglomerates on radio too. So like a lot of like your rural areas, a lot of the information that they're presented with ultimately comes from radio. Like you had like these smaller radio outlets that would say what's going on around town and whatnot, and then you would have you would have like basically like a conservative leaning or whatever company that goes and then they buy this one and then they buy that one and then they buy the other one and then they end up basically taking over all of the radio state or most of the many of the radio stations in rural America. So that's why you end up with like a similar narrative across all of these different places because you end up with that. And then you have a similar thing happening with the television broadcasts as well. So you have a certain slant and they're getting basically all like the same type of messages on the they'll be propagated out even in like some of the local news. Like they'll have their particular local news, but then they'll also have a little bit of propaganda sprinkled in there as well, because you'll see it the same thing kind of play out up here, and then you'll see the same thing play out over there, and you'll see it in this state, that state, the other state, because they're all a part of a larger conglomerate. You might have like Sinclair or some other media, and they'll have their perspective basically kind of blasted out throughout all of their affiliates, and then you end up with this thing that ends up becoming kind of a worldview.
That's correct. And these like local stations are all called what? Affiliates.
Yeah.
But that's just a kind word saying, no, you bought them, and they're allowed to work independently, but under your guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
And they get support from you, so long as you all do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So long as you go by their programming.
Yeah. That programming your mind, that stuff that leaks into your subconscious while you're really just trying to figure out, okay, what time is the farmer's market tomorrow? Like, that's what you really wanted to know. But now you're subjected to all of these other ideas that they want you to believe in. And we kind of thought
not to mention, here's one way they keep them, especially for men, how they keep them glued to the screens. Usually they have a female meteorologist giving you the local forecast.
And then she gotta be a cutie.
You gotta be a cutie.
You gotta be a cutie. Keep your eyes on them.
In a very form revealing outfit.
The crazy thing
that still looks professional.
The crazy thing though is when you have all of this, you have the illusion of a bunch of choices. So you'll have like a big conglomerate that owns a whole bunch of stations, and then because you on paper have all of these extra options, you believe that you're hearing that you believe that you have something different than what you had in the past, where you only had like 5 or 3 stations before. Like you cut on your TV, you have this station, that station, the other state, PBS, this thing, that thing, the other thing, NBC, ABC, and then you're pretty much done. But like now, what you have is like you have these huge amount of different channels and stations and all of that. But when you go and you pull the thread, then you realize that they're kind of like owned by the same thing. So you just have like different iterations sometimes of a similar message playing in the background.
Yeah, I mean, America is full of this. It's a scam. America's a scam society. We're finding out that the Chinese are making all these beds, and even though they make them for like $100 to $150, they're selling them for $1,000. It's all markup. It's all markup. It's all the fake information, making up words. This is triple spine protection. And it's just, the same thing with the eyeglasses, same thing with cars. We're just on the system that is robbing us blind, that's taking advantage of our ignorance. And we are finding out little by little by other countries are showing us that, we're just being taken advantage of in many ways.
Yeah, that's accurate. I mean, basically everything has a markup to it, like including our prescription medications as well. Like that's why we have so many people that like go and they'll cross the border to get their prescription medication a whole lot cheaper.
Oh yeah, I go to Colombia, and I mean people actually leave the country, go to these and get healthier just by living there, because they can buy their drugs, they can get have time to do exercises, have time to get therapy. Will get therapy. The doctor will suggest certain examinations and things, and people get healthier when they leave out of this country, because even if you have insurance, good insurance, you still have to come out of your pocket with loads and loads of money. It's a shame. It's a shame what we do to the of what Americans
especially
do.
with Medicaid. If you have Medicaid
or
Medicare, sometimes they will, because there's part of a markup there. And if you go to your local pharmacy to get something, they find out you got Medicaid and say, "Hold on, I got this." Someone wants to explain to me how the scam works. But also, in the United States, when you talk about medicine, health, and food and medicine, there's been a war on holistic doctors. Alternative medicine has proven to be far more useful than whatever pharmaceuticals are putting out.
Well,
And the Food and Drug Administration, that's a different discussion. We don't need to go there.
Well, that's the thing with runaway capitalism. Like, you're in a capitalist country, so then everything has to be all about profit. So you'll have a prescription medicine, and then you'll have a prescription medicine for your prescription medicine because your prescription medicine has side effects. So now you have to go and get another prescription medicine to cover the side effects of your original one, and then you have all of these. Then you end up with this whole entire bag full of different medicines because you have to have a medicine for this, a medicine for that, and then a medicine for your medicine.
And then
I'll give you an example.
They have where you need therapy, and they're gonna limit your therapy to a certain amount of a certain number when you might need more. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. It's just all about money and how they, and this is, let's say we're talking about people who have insurance, and then you have a limit. People don't understand that you have your insurance policy might have a $2 million limit. After you reach that limit, they just cut you off. You're like, okay, well, you reach your limit. You use your $3 million now. Bye bye.
Also, I'll mention this. I want to mention this. That's really important. Comparing the U.S. system to other parts of the world, even you go north of Canada. In the U.S., when you guys have to fill out a prescription, they give it to you guys in like these translucent yellow containers, right? So like those little filter containers that they used to have for like film rolls from a camera and such.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the pills themselves. They go into like that little open
the pill dispensers, with the white cap and everything. They don't do that in Europe. They give it to you in the box, and the box is packaged in. They tell you how to use it, and they explain to us how it's, and they write down how it's used. But inside the box, usually you will find a pamphlet with the information about the medication, its uses and everything. So you read like the side effects and all that, and see if it's right for you. I remember when I had to get some medication, and the pharmacist, I told him this is my prescription. Can you fill this out? He looks at it, goes in the back, gets those ones. They're in their packaged boxes. And explains to me how I'm supposed to administer and when to take them. In fact, he writes it down and everything. And those things always have the pamphlets in it. If not, you can look them up. You can look it up online because the company has a website, and you look at what the chemical compound and what it's made of, the ingredients, and you look at how to administer it. And it gives you the warnings of who should not be using it, whatnot, this, that, and the third, and the side effects.
They do technically give us that stuff, but they kind of like typically staple it on the outside bag. Like, so we'll get like a bag. They'll put the pills, the pill bottle in the bag, and then they'll staple how much to take, and the frequency of taking it, and the side effects, and all of that will be like on this paper or whatever, and that paper will be like stapled onto there. But when you actually want to go and you want to actually get your actual pills, you're just basically like kind of like opening up that bag, grabbing the pills out, and then throwing the bag and the paper away
without even bothering to read what it says. Everybody takes everything at face value. Yeah,
it's on the outermost side. I mean, you can. I guess you can like pull it off of the bag. I guess if you really want to, you actually have to pull it off of the bag a lot of the times to really read all of the stuff that's on it. But yeah, that's kind of how that goes. This is another one of those things where we get into like systems and processes, and like, is that really the best way to do it type of thing? Is that really the best practice? Like, or is the best practice what they do over there in Europe and putting it in a box? I mean, maybe that might be a best practice.
Packaging, and there's a lot of transparency, but they also put restrictions on what you can and can. But they have different rules on what medication is considered what you can acquire over the counter, and one that's to require prescriptions.
Yeah.
like certain pain medication and everything like that. They have strict restrictions on that. So you need to get a prescription for that, and they don't fuck around with the forgery because if you because they're going to ask for your number. Well, in case of Norway, they're going to ask for your ID and social security number, everything, because that's in your you need to know that number. And when they screen it through the system, the computer system that does the database and everything, they're like, oh, you have a prescription. You have a prescription. Okay. Because I can have a prescription written out for me, but it's going to be posted into the system, and I can go to any pharmacy to get that prescription filled out. And if I try to forge one, they will find out, and I could end up getting arrested for that.
Yeah, we do try to get into a system to try to avoid that, the type of like forgery stuff. We've gotten more into like digital stuff and getting things kind of like squared away. And also like communication of records, because that's been like a real big thing, because if you go to one state and then you go over to another state, or you go from one healthcare provider to another healthcare provider, sometimes all your data doesn't follow you. So there's an attempt to try to get that
federalize it all.
Yeah,
you need a federal system for that. You mean that would work great with y'all?
It probably
because most health systems are nationwide. They're not state level. They're region because they're regional. They're not regional. Excuse me. They're national institutions.
Yeah.
So they're subject to the national government.
That probably would work better, but I think right now we have like this like my chart system over here and my chart system over there, but then maybe another place might not be on my chart, so then you'll have to like ask or request for your records from over this system to go into that system. But it's a whole lot of different stuff. We went way off course into a whole nother level. We into medical stuff now, so I guess I'll go ahead now. I'll get into closing statements. I'll start off with Tunnel Runner.
Okay, I'll go. And yeah, it's Neymar's fault. We're off course. It's Neymar's fault.
Under the bus.
It's all, and you know what? I'm going to change my name to Jermaine. It's going to be like that.
No, but good talking to y'all. Y'all have a great day. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all the breakfast. We had eggs, we had chicken, we had cinnamon bun, we had ginger tea, and coffee and water with chick seeds.
Chia seeds?
Chia seeds. Correct. Yes.
Okay. Nice.
So,
cool.
Y'all have a great day. Protect yourself at all time. Peace and love.
Good statement. On you, Neymar.
Well, I'll say this first and foremost. You are right. This is a selective punishment system. In fact, there's the reason why Jay-Z had a song called "Guilty Until Proven Innocent." It goes back to how the system is selected, because like one side, the sky's the limit. The other side, the limit is the sky, as Chris Rock once said. Or in their case, they're innocent until proven guilty. In y'all's case, you're guilty until proven innocent. And some of us come from parts of the world where the justice system is you're guilty until we say otherwise, no matter what the evidence is brought in. So always be vigilant and aware of your legal rights, no matter where in the world you are, and know how to implement them as best as you can, and stay out of trouble. But always be vigilant with it. Sometimes it's not about whether or not you're looking for trouble, but whether or not trouble is looking for y'all. With that, have a blessed Sunday. Have a blessed Sunday in advance.
All right, I guess I'll go ahead and I'll get the last word as per usual. I want to remind you all, you do not have a justice system. No matter what people want to try to tell you about it, no matter how much people want to try to argue about it, you do not have a justice system. They'll tell you about all sorts of different technicalities, all sorts of qualifiers. You'll go and you'll say, hey, this case wasn't like that case. Why does Karmelo get 35 years, but this lady over here gets 6 years? They're going to say, oh, well, different case, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this one was like where you had some sort of agreement, blah, blah, blah. All of that is just hogwash, because you can also go and look at the aggregate numbers and you're going to see more time for black men than you see for white men. You're going to see more time for men than you see for women. You're going to see selective punishment in our system, and that's what you actually have. I think that I made the point pretty clear that this can also expand out into the court of public opinion. We'll have a narrative filter system based on your social positioning, and then we decide and we choose what we want to amplify that's negative or minimize that's negative, and then decide on whether we want punishment or we want protection based on your social standing and your social status that we've agreed upon for you. So with that, I'm going to play one more time Austin Metcalf's record so that you all don't forget about it, and so that you all make sure that you protect your neck. And if he did live, if he did survive this whole incident, we would probably have to end up dealing with him ourselves in our life. So instead of him being dealt with over here, he would have just been dealt with somewhere else.
2023-2024 school year,
and then we'll close out
in-school suspension twice. School Anthony from getting an open and fair trial. But bombshell testimony came this afternoon from Anthony's trial attorney, Mike Howard, about Austin Metcalf's background report that was never presented to the jury. CBS News Texas has also learned new details about Austin Metcalf's background. Metcalf and his brother Hunter were once caught spray painting graffiti, including KKK Kill All Blacks and Heil Hitler, along with the N-word, and were sentenced to 12 months of juvenile probation. Records reveal they reportedly told authorities, "We did some dumb stuff. We did some vandalism." There are several documented instances of Austin using racial slurs in school, and in 2023, Austin was accused of bullying a black student in class. In 2018, while still in elementary school, Austin and his brother were accused of bullying and assaulting a female, which led to his arrest. During an argument in 2024 with another female student, Austin allegedly knocked her to the ground and punched her in the stomach. He was also kicked out of a football game and texted someone later, "I was about to beat the expletive out of those kids." At a previous track meet, when another student alerted Austin that someone not on their team, quote, "behind our bench was talking wild," Austin reportedly replied, "Kill that MF." During the 2023-2024 school year, he received in-school suspension twice. School disciplinary records from April 2022 to May 2024 reveal that Austin reportedly called a teacher the B word and used profanity. He told a school official that he couldn't control it and wasn't aware that it was coming out of his mouth. In 2024, on at least 5 occasions, Austin saw a counselor regarding his anger and rage during a football game. In 2021, he got banned from attending basketball games for a season after yelling profanity at a player. Metcalf also got suspended after he and
text messages are not convictions. And with that, y'all have a great day. Peace out.